we are slowly making progress on the portal hill, but this is taking a long time. As you can see, I've kind of stopped at this point so far, and it's kind of a mess under here currently, which is to be expected when you're terraforming. But this took me about 4 hours to do, I think, so far. And when you think about how big this needs to be, it's gonna take me a long time. And I know I said that the next time you saw this, it would be finished. But if we actually follow that, there's not going to be another hardcore video until like late January at this stage. So what we're going to do instead is, this is just a, here's how I'm doing so far with the hill build. But for now, let's just pause this right here for the time being. And I think we should just go ahead and build the farms under here, like I said I was going to. So, just to remind you, the farms I want to put under here are a sugarcane farm for sugar, and then a creeper farm for gunpowder, because I want to be able to make rockets here, instead of having to collect sugarcane from there, and then fly all the way over to the mob farm, way over there that I've built, to get the gunpowder from creepers, and then come all the way back, and then just kind of keep repeating that every single time I need rockets. I mean, I've got plenty of them for now. And let me just open this up here, put this shulker box down. See, I've got plenty still, so I don't desperately need rockets at this exact point in time, but it would still be nice to have a closer source of them, rather than having to go, all the way over there to get one of the components. One problem I'm gonna have, I think, is trying to decide how to get in and out of this area. And it's a similar problem I'm gonna have for my potato experience farm, because, well, predictably, considering where I've built this hill so far, it's kind of there. That's where the potato experience farm is, and I'm gonna have to kind of cover it over to do it properly, because I don't want to just have to keep coming in here and dropping down into this corridor to get to there. I need to make another way of getting there now, but I don't know what to do with that. One option I did think about was making 2 different water elevators in the back of the greenhouse here. One for going down, one for coming up. But then that would mean that I'd have to go into the greenhouse every time I wanted to get experience, which itself isn't too bad, but it'd be better if I could just go straight in there without having to go around to the entrance of this place. And then I thought, well, maybe I could connect the experience farm with these 2 farms here, but then do I really want to, if I, set up these water elevator, do this water elevator idea, do I really want to go into the greenhouse in order to get to the rocket farm? I don't really want to do that, because that's just going to be a bit annoying every single time. So I need to think of a different way of doing it. And there are, of course, several things I could do, several different ways I could do it. I could just, of course, make a separate set of water elevators on the hill somewhere that lead directly down. That could work. I could also just dig into the side of the hill itself, kind of like I did for this initially, just dig a channel straight down. That would work, but it wouldn't look great. And then, of course, there's the redstone option, where I kind of use sticky pistons to move some blocks out the way here to make like a secret entrance. But I think that's getting into the territory of being a Bond villain, and I don't want to go that hard just yet, So I need to think about what I'm doing. But I don't need to worry about that too much just yet, because we haven't even built the farms. And I don't even know exactly where I'm putting them. I need to get those things out the way first. So I'm thinking, considering the creeper farm has to be the tallest, I'm going to make it the exact same as I did for the general mob farm way over there. Just, tall so it only accepts creepers. And the way this works in my head is I have the creeper farm on one side, and then the sugarcane farm on the other side, and then the chests where all the items go into will be next to each other, and then I'll be like a crafting bench in front of them, so I can just like pick the items up from the chests, instantly make rockets, walk away, job done. You know, so that's my idea for there. But what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to get a bunch of cobblestone, and I'm just going to quickly plan out a square room with cobblestone, because what I want to do is I want to make the area first, and then I want to think about decoration after. You know, if I start thinking about decoration now, I'll need to keep remaking and then dismantling the room before it's right. So if I just make the room first, so I can actually see what it looks like size-wise, then maybe I'll get a better idea of how I want to, you know, decorate it. You know, because that idea has worked out so well for me so far with my house and my hobbit hole just being completely decorated, even to this day. But let's not talk about that. So let's get a bunch of cobblestone and plan this room out. So here we have the platform currently, and it's getting a little bit crazy. It's definitely bigger than I imagined it being, but I guess this does make sense when you consider the size of the mob farm I built already. It's not exactly a small thing. However, this whole area isn't just for that. Don't forget, we are going to be having a sugarcane farm at one of the edges as well. And I'm thinking what I might do is kind of section them off a little bit. So, like, let's say, for instance, I enter through this side. I'll have like a mini corridor, you know, one set of walls, one wall on this side, one wall on this side. And then you get so far, and then that's when it opens up and you can see both farms going. And then the two chests will be here, maybe. And it's going to be some of you watching this thinking, wait a second, wait, hold on. Don't mob farms need to be in the air? Or at least the AFK? Where are you going to AFK from to get the creepers to spawn? Well, I'm not. I'm not going to AFK. I'm going to hope in passive spawning. You know, similar to how all the zombies and skeletons spawn in caves underground, whilst you're just kind of in the area. I'm kind of hoping for that. I'm going to have it set up so that as I'm just in this place, you know, doing all of this terraforming for the hill, I'm kind of hoping that that'll be enough to make all the creepers spawn that I need it to, you know, for the gunpowder and everything. See, I'm thinking now, though, some of the stuff you get from other mobs is also kind of useful. Like, not so much the bone, because I got, you know, the bone mill machine churning away constantly. But arrows from skeletons? From my bow? You know, I only have 19 left, and I have to go all the way over there to get some more. Zombie flesh as well, I guess I could sell to the clerics I have. Oh, do I just make this a general mob farm? It'll take longer to get gunpowder, but then we've already discussed that I don't desperately need rockets, so I could just use an item sorter, couldn't I? I could have several different chests. Yeah, you know what? We're going to do that. Okay, so new plan. It's not going to be just a creeper farm anymore. It's going to be another general mob farm using the power of passive spawning and item sorters to generate all the items that I will need here. Except for bone, because, like I said, bone mill machine has got me covered there. But I can have chests for string, gunpowder, zombie flesh, arrows, and I think spiders only drop the spider eyes if you kill them yourself, so I don't need to worry about that. Yeah, it should be easy enough to do. I've done it before in different worlds, but yeah, okay. So, no longer a creeper farm, a general mob farm, but aside from that, everything else is still the same. Thinking about the space I'm going to have on this side for the sugarcane farm, though, I'm thinking I might also, hear me out, I might also have a kelp farm here. Because one thing that is kind of time intensive, like, you haven't seen me do this, but one thing that's time intensive is constantly chopping down these trees, which I then bring over to the experience farm in order to turn into charcoal, which is what I currently used for fuel. Oh, perfect timing. Excellent. Right here. But constantly going back, chopping down the trees, and then putting all of the logs into here, so it goes into the system to get turned into charcoal, is a bit time intensive. So what I might do is make a kelp farm in that area here, because then I can turn the kelp into kelp blocks, which is a fuel source, and then that's also passively be generated. Don't you just love it when your plans get interrupted by other plans? It's never ending. Okay, so new plan for this area. Mob farm over this side, and then we have a sugarcane and kelp farm over here. I still need to build the rest of the room first, though. I need to build the rest of that first, so let's go ahead and get that done at least, before we begin building anything else. And this is what we have so far after building these temporary walls up. And you'll notice as I walk in, one side of this room is slightly bigger than the other. For good reason, because the mob farm, naturally, needs a lot more space than the kelp farm and the sugarcane farm do. I mean, you can build a sugarcane farm, a simple one, in like a 4-5 gap wide area. Same with the kelp farm as well, but the mob farm, that requires a bit more space, which is why you've got all this area here laid out just for this thing. Now, I was tempted to make this smaller, to have these bits here not be as long, but I kind of came to the conclusion that because I am going to be relying a lot on passive spawning for this to work, I need as much area as possible for things to spawn in. So we're making this full size, but with a slight difference. Because I want to separate everything out, it's going to need a bit of redstone to it. And I'm also going to build it mainly into, not mainly, but more into the ground. Like you'll notice on the other one, I have to go down a little bit to get to the chests. But because I'm going to be using an item sorter to filter everything, I can just have all the items move through hoppers and then eventually into like dropper and dispenser elevators to bring them up to chests on the surface. So I need to dig all of this out eventually to put everything in place. But then once I'm done, I can just fill it in and then have all of the, you know, behind the scenes stuff happening literally behind the scenes, because no one's ever going to see it. Which is why also I'm going to build this entire thing out of cobblestone. Like, this is temporary stuff. The floor, the walls, cobblestone's temporary, but this stuff here is going to be permanent because it's going to be a mob farm, and I need it to be in complete darkness for it to work, which means it's just going to be put into a shell like the other one. Although I do need to put a bit more thought in for what blocks I'm going to use for the shell, because that could influence my choice of blocks for the walls and the floor in this place. But I got a bit of time to think of that. For now, we're just going to go ahead and get started on this. I don't know if I should build up first, get all the platforms, get all the observers and dispensers in place for that system, or if I should build the item filters, the item sorting first. I don't know which one I should go with. I kind of want to do both for different reasons. You know what? I'm going to build the platforms first. Because I'm thinking what I can do with that is once the platforms are done, I can just have the hoppers down here, you know, assuming it works as intended. I can have the hoppers down here underneath this block just very slowly fill up with items. And then once I connect it all up to the item sorting system, they'll just all filter through. Then I'll already have some items ready to go, which does make a lot of sense, actually. So that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of this episode. I think because of how much work I need to do here, the sugarcane farm and the kelp farm are going to be a next episode kind of thing. Because my god, have I got a lot of work to do here. And the more I talk about it, the longer it's going to take to do. So let's just crack on with it. And one quick build later, and we are done with the mob farm. It has been completely built, top to bottom. All of the redstone stuff inside is done. So it's pushing mobs down into the burning area right here. And I've also gone ahead while I was here and finished the item sorting system. Mostly. I still need to put the actual items in here. So the filter slabs I've renamed, as well as all the mob drops, to make sure that they all get separated out accordingly. But I have 5 rows of hoppers here for each individual item, because I think they drop 5 combined. So we got the skeletons that drop the arrows and the bones. Creepers drop gunpowder, zombies drop the flesh, and then spiders drop string. That's about right. You don't get anything else unless you actually kill them yourself, so that's fine. So all I need to do now for this is to right-click here and put 1... Actually, let's put 2 of each filter item. Well, not filter item, but... What would you call it? Padding item, I guess? Yeah, that'll work. Padding item. Let's put 8 of each one into there. In case you're wondering what this chest is for here, this is in case anything else appears in here, in the burn pit. Because what this does is that will make sure that anything extra that I'm not expecting will just end up in the chest here. So I'll just show you that quickly, actually. Actually, no. What I'll do first is if I connect this up, all these items that I've been collecting very slowly whilst I've been here will then get fed into... Oh, actually, do you know what? I want to make sure that gunpowder is in the very end one, because I want it to be closest to the sugarcane farm to be over here, which is going to be this chest here. I need to fill this in at some point. Let me just actually, I got a better idea. Oh, okay, I'll just fall down. That's fine. Let me just let me just run over here quickly. Turn it into day. There we go. Then I can get rid of you. And I can just add you to the pile. There, that's fine. Not a problem. Now that I've done that, now that I have put gunpowder there, if I were to connect this up, all of these will filter through. I should also maybe put that at the end for safety reasons. You'll see why. So if I do this, everything will eventually start coming through, and this first one should become any day now. Oh, right. Here's the problem. Well, that's embarrassing. This is facing the wrong direction. Okay, so pretend you didn't see that, okay? Pretend you didn't see that. Everything's back in this hopper, and we're just going to reconnect this up, and then, as before, items should be coming through, and then, here we go, bone is there. I saw that squid, by the way, and then we should get the next one here. Zombie flesh is going to be there, which means this next one's going to be arrows when it finishes filtering through. And then this is going to become... This is going to be a lot of arrows. There's 41, I think there was. But eventually this is going to become string. This one here. Any second now. We'll wait till 39. There we go. String here. And then, of course, gunpowder into this one. Perfect. And I think I saw an arrow go through the system. So let's check. It's a dirt block when I was testing things. Forgot about that. There we go. That's absolutely fine. So this now works exactly as intended. Which means I can now finalize the floor. the floor of this area, I can cover this up now. I can fill this back in again. Then I can finish the floor, and then I have to make a decision about this. Part of me wants to just carry this all the way across, as it is on this level, and then have the sugarcane and kelp farms maybe built slightly into the floor, because I don't think I can build them in this kind of space height-wise, or maybe even just come over to here and then have it go up a couple blocks, I don't know. The other part of me wants to make the actual shell part of the room, which would be a lot more interesting. You know, you walk into here, and then you actually see this. Just decorated appropriately, you know, not actual cobblestone. And I don't know which one I want to do more. Because just leaving it at this level will be a lot easier. You know? But making the shell part of the room would look better if I can do it right. But we'll decide on that. But like I said earlier, I'll be building the other 2 farms in this room in the next video, because we spent a lot of time today making this and all of its necessary parts as well. So that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.